Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Conversations in Wellness. Super excited to invite Dr. Kimberly Sommerville to join our conversation today. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, everyone. Thanks
Dr.
for having us.
Sommerville is a clinical nutritionist in addition to being a medical doctor, which I think is just a phenomenal combination. I mean, kudos to you for joining forces of like two of the most powerful things that you can do towards helping heal people, like not just write prescriptions.
True.
I love that. Is it okay for me to call you Kim, or should I call you Dr.? Yeah, okay.
No,
So
no,
Kim,
it's fine.
tell us a little bit about your background. Like, how did you get into medicine?
Okay, I love medicine since I was a child, essentially. So my mom, even though I'm not background in medicine for my family, my mom loved natural remedies and she had a lot of books. So I was very interested in how to heal the body, especially because I had asthma. It was pretty bad asthma, and I would be going to doctors ever so often. So it intrigued me about, knowing how to help persons. So I was into it from that. And in high school, I did mostly sciences, and then I went on to the University of the West Indies, where I did medicine, and I graduated in 2013. So yeah, that's how I got into medicine.
And then what took you to leap to include nutrition? Because that's not usual.
So yeah, not typical. So to be honest, I got into medicine because I love nutrition. And I said, wow, it would be so great to be able to, pair preventative medicine with curative. But I realized nutrition was really just a very small course in the whole medical degree. And then I was doing internal medicine at the hospital for quite some time. And then I decided that I wanted to be in private practice to have more of a connection with patients. And then because I used to research nutrition just for fun, essentially, I realized that I could actually do a master's in nutrition. So I did a master's in clinical nutrition with the University of Aberdeen in the UK. I did it as an online course, but it was 2 years and it was really good for me.
That's awesome. And I hear a little person in the background, and I think it's phenomenal that you're doing all of this towards helping people actually heal while, starting your own family. I mean, this is like, not shying away from responsibility there, are you?
Yeah. So I have my daughter here. So if you see me look down a little bit to the left, sometimes just know.
Yeah. That's okay. We appreciate your time.
Sure, thank you.
So Kim, I wanted to talk with you a little bit today. I think our viewers would like to hear your thoughts on some of the fad diets that exist in the world, because there are. When I studied at health coaching school, we studied over 100 dietary theories. So there's everything from high carb, high fat, low carb, no carb, everything in between. We heard about the paleo diet, the keto diet, the Mediterranean diet, oh my gosh, the South Beach, the Atkins. There's so much out there, right?
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the year, everybody always finds themselves back on track towards, let me have a health-related goal.
Yes.
And mostly that means I'm going to change the way I'm eating. So maybe there's something that's not feeling good or not looking good, and I want to make a change. And I go, okay, I'm going to jump on the next latest craze. Yeah. What do you think about that approach to nutrition?
Well, I'm not really for it. That's one. I usually like to think about sustainability when I'm working with clients or anyone who wants to make a change. Can it be sustainable? I think that's the first question you want before making it. Because if it's not sustainable for you, then you're going to do it probably a few weeks, a month or two. I have some clients who said, hey, they went vegetarian for about a week and they're like, well, not for me. So if it's not
guilty.
I did it for 2 months as well. I think we all have tried. So if it's not sustainable for you, then it wouldn't really work. So a lot of these diets, you find that they're so extreme that it really can't be sustainable. And once it isn't, you kind of get demoralized after. You're like, well, I failed at this. I'm not going to be able to really change. And then, you just feel bad and probably don't make other healthy changes that you could. So I would really say to find something that's sustainable and it would actually help you in the long run.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's sort of like, it's what I subscribe to as well, make baby changes that are sustainable that we can layer in. But the keto diet right now is so popular, and people are losing a lot of weight.
Sure, they are.
So what do you think about that particular? Because I think it has its merits.
It does.
So how do you feel overall about the keto diet?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm totally against it, because yes, it does help persons lose weight, especially if, you know, you're in the, say, obese category and you're having some complications because of that. Say your elevated blood pressure, your blood sugar may be getting elevated as well, and you really want something to help you a little bit quicker than probably a slower weight loss program would. So keto isn't bad. It has a high fat content in there, so it's really good for persons who may have some neurological issues, because studies have really shown that it helps persons, you know, with seizures, and possibly some persons who have psychiatric issues as well. But in terms of weight loss, I have recommended it for some persons, but I let them know that this may not be something that is sustainable. So we may wean off the keto and go to something else once you have reached to your weight goal. But it's not really something I say to, you know, continue for the rest of your life, because we do need carbohydrates for fuel. So I really wouldn't say to do it forever, but, you know, there are some persons who subscribe to that.
I like what you said there, and that you basically, what I'm getting from you is you can use the keto way of eating as a tool to accomplish maybe a part of your goal. Yeah. And once you've gotten to that place, then you learn now how to eat in a sustainable way.
Yeah, because we can slowly then add some carbohydrates. Of course, it doesn't have to be like before, but you definitely need some carbs. So we'd slowly add that in, and be aware that you may gain a little bit of weight during that time when we're adding it in. But if you're incorporating exercise, that can help to reduce that weight gain afterwards.
Yeah. So if you're talking about incorporating a little bit of carbs, you definitely don't subscribe to the theory that carbs are the enemy. Is that true?
No, definitely not. That's not me at all. I really think carbs are necessary, because, you know, we need that fast energy sometimes, especially just for brain power. You know, keto, of course, says, you know, we're going to burn the fats and we're going to lose the weight. But carbs, you know, especially glucose, is going to go to your brain quickly, give you that energy, help you with your mood, help concentration. So I'm definitely not for cutting out carbs forever.
There are definitely some carbohydrates that are better than others, though, right? Between pumpkin and a slice of whole wheat bread, you have a preference?
So definitely the pumpkin, because of course, as you're alluding to, you know, we have carbohydrates that have a high glycemic index and a low glycemic index. So when we're talking about glycemic index, we're just saying that, you know, some of these foods can get your sugars higher quicker, and some of them actually sustain the sugars for quite a while. So more of what we in Jamaica know as ground provisions, like or yam or green banana, pumpkin, as you said, cassava, those things, because of the fiber content, tends to digest slower, increases your blood sugar slower as well. So you don't have that spike and the cravings that you may have if you have just the bread or cookies or chips, you know?
Right. And then those other things are wrapped up in all kind of pro-inflammatory oils and free sugars and stuff. So ground provisions, good Jamaican things. So in the world of fad diets, is there a particular dietary theory that you think, you know, this probably mimics what people need to be, or represents what people need to be working towards in general? Like, what if you had sort of a blanket to say, this is probably the best diet for the majority of people, what would that look like for you?
Well, based on my research for the diet so far, I've been liking what they call a Mediterranean diet. And that's not just, I like to say, it's not just the food that you get at the Mediterranean restaurant. It's really something more specific than that. So essentially what it is that you want to incorporate good, healthy fats with lean protein, as well as some carbohydrates as well. And that tends to really help a lot of the diseases that we're seeing, especially because I have a special interest in hormonal imbalances like polycystic ovarian syndrome. And they have been finding that it really does help hormone imbalances. So the healthy fats can be, say, olive oils, fatty fish like salmon, tuna. Then you have the proteins where you can get from lean chicken and fish as well, and legumes. And then for the carbohydrates, as we're saying, we just spoke about the low glycemic index foods. So that can be incorporated as well.
Okay.
And just to say, to lower your sugar content. I forgot to add that. Yeah.
Always a good idea to lower your sugar content. All right. Settle a debate for me.
Pardon? Okay, go ahead.
Settle a debate for me. Sure. Chickpeas, carbohydrates or protein?
Boy. So
that's a trick question.
Yeah, because it's kind of both. For me, I remember I had a patient who she was saying that she doesn't really like the chickpeas as a substitute for other meats because it tastes more like a carb to her because it was so hearty, but it does have a lot of protein as well. So they're both there.
Yeah, and the legumes in general fall into that, like black beans,
lentils, for sure.
Lentils. So if you're looking to increase your carbohydrates without throwing off blood sugar too much, it would be a good idea to include those pulses and legumes and yeah. Okay.
Yes, usually when I'm making a meal plan, I like to tell persons that, hey, you don't necessarily have to have meat every day. So there can be one day where you switch out the meat for some legumes and it can be just as tasty.
Just as tasty. Absolutely. Hey, I'm a big believer that good food doesn't have to be boring.
Of course. Hello, it should taste good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our viewers with in terms of if there's like one thing that people could do? I mean, I'm sure you could make a list of 100 things that people could do to improve their wellness. But one thing that you would say would be like a major needle mover for most people to improve their health and wellness in changing their diets, what would that one thing be?
I would say to really start with tiny habits. I think a lot of the times we would just want to change everything all at once, get rid of the sodas, get rid of everything bad in our household. But that tends to make us go up really quickly. And then, once we just fail in like one tiny thing, we throw everything away. So I would say just to start with something tiny, reduce sodas this month, next month, possibly do exercise 3 times a week. Just slowly add on these habits into your lifestyle and you'll find that over time, your whole lifestyle will be much better.
Whole lifestyle is so much better. Awesome. Thank you so much. How do our viewers reach you if they want to reach out to you, Kim?
Okay, sure. So if you want a face-to-face consult, I'm at the Imara Medical Center. That's at the Winchester Business Center in Kingston on 15 Hope Road. And then I also do online consults, whether that be as a general practitioner or a nutritionist. So you can find me at Simple Summer Naturals, the summer is with an O, .com, or Simple Summer Naturals on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And for those of you who've been watching, thank you for your time. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends and like it and subscribe to the channel so that you can always be kept up to date about when we're posting new conversations in wellness. Kim, thank you so much for doing what you do. I think it's going to be a very powerful combination for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being on Conversations in Wellness.